Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Coffee and Tea with IWRC. My name is Stephanie Herman. I'm the Membership Coordinator and Content Specialist for IWRC. IWRC stands for International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. We're a nonprofit that supports wildlife rehabbers and related professionals through science-based education, networking, publications, and standards, things like that. Coffee and Tea are free monthly seminars to support ongoing learning and connection within the community. We do have a couple ground rules before we get too far in. First of all, we do ask that you stay muted. It's just a bit too many people for us to have everybody unmuted. But we do want to hear your questions. So if you do have questions or comments or resources to share, please use the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We are recording the session and we will be sending out information on accessing the recording. All of our recordings are available to our members. So the full archive of Coffee and Tea is available to our members. This month, I just want to let everybody know that our classes are open and we have a bunch of live classes, both online and in person, that are available for registration now. If you want to check them out, you can at our website, which is the iwrc.org/courses, specifically if you're looking for the courses section. We also have a session of Foundations of Wildlife Rehabilitation online that is scheduled specifically for the convenience of folks from Australia, Asia, New Zealand, that whole area there. Even folks in India, it should be a decent time because a lot of times our foundation sessions are not very convenient for everyone around the world. So we did make sure that there is a session for that as well. So check that out if you're interested. And with that, that's all my announcements. So, well, the first thing I'd love to do is introduce you to our panel. Let's see. Barb, do you want to introduce yourself and a little bit about your program?
Absolutely. Barb Kahler, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, and surrounding area. We've been utilizing a hotline for years. It's an awesome hotline. It filters a lot of the phone calls. So instead of picking up, a call cold, you actually get a message kind of giving you an idea what the caller is looking for. We have 15 people on our phone team right now. We answer phone calls from 8 to 8, in addition to, of course, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, emails, and all the other good stuff. But love our hotline because it filters a lot of the phone calls and it gives everybody the opportunity to prepare before they return the call.
Yeah. That can be really helpful. Thank you, Barb. And Jana.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Jana. I'm from Kildare Wildlife Rescue, which is a wildlife rescue and rehabilitation center in Ireland, about an hour away from Dublin. We started relatively recently in 2022, and over the last 4 years, we grew into what is currently the largest wildlife rescue center in Ireland in terms of the number of animals we can admit and number of species we can facilitate. I'm one of the founding members, and one of my main jobs really is to lead what we call the help desk. So this is our help time. We call it the help desk. So I manage that, take lots of shifts on that, and manage the team of volunteers working away on that as well. We have about 13,000. Well, we don't know the numbers for this year yet because we're in the middle of our busiest season, so we didn't even have time to crunch numbers yet. But last year we had 13,000 in a year.
Amazing.
Thanks.
And Karen. Well, Karen is joining us very last minute, and I'm so grateful for her help filling out this panel. So would you mind introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about your program?
So I represent Wildcare Australia. So we're based in southeast Queensland. And for those that don't know that area, so that encompasses sort of Brisbane, Gold Coast and surrounding. And we've got a population of about 4.1 million people. So our hotline has been operating for about 30 years now, and it's predominantly 24/7. We are very grateful that we've got volunteers that cover both day shifts and also night shifts. And we get, last year we took 48,500 calls which is pretty astounding considering that they're all volunteers. Everyone is in wildcare is predominantly volunteer based. So yeah, lots of calls, and we have about 1,000 members, but most groups, there's a smaller number of core people that do most of the work. But we have about 55 hotline volunteers during the busy season. The shifts are usually about 2 hours. 2 hours is like the max that most people can cope with. But yeah, we've got a pretty incredible team led by an amazing coordinator, and also we have a good support and mentor system for all of our hotline volunteers. So very, very grateful to have such a great team.
Wonderful. Thank you, Karen. Well, I wonder if you guys would mind sharing a little bit about how you personally got started and learned how to do what you're doing now. Jana, would you like to go first?
Great. Right. It's, I think we all I think everybody will relate to you kind of fall into it totally not expecting that's what your life is going to be. Starting, oh yeah, sure, I can volunteer for this rescue and pick up an animal here and there. And suddenly you're taking calls and helping with all sorts of stuff. So this was a good number of years back with, before Kildare Wildlife Rescue started with other organizations. And I think probably most of us here, it's how it happens. You kind of get the first experience and then you're hooked, and you're, if you're a bit nerdy and a bit kind of into it, then it just snowballs from there. You just build on the experience, and then you're able to utilize that experience to help others to learn that as well, and to, train volunteers and to advise members of the public and all that. So it just kind of happens that way for a lot of us, I feel.
Fair. Totally reasonable. Karen, what's your story?
We found a little magpie that couldn't fly in our yard, and that sort of prompted me to go into a course on wildlife. And at that course, it was mentioned that they needed a treasurer, and that was my work, my paid work. So sort of got landed on the committee right from the start, and then just got given animals and told to take them, and I did as I was told, and just kind of went from there, and just yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think probably a similar story for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Christy, if you don't mind staying muted for me. Sorry about that. Okay, Barb, what's your story? How'd you get started?
I found the squirrel 3 million years ago, and I took it to the Wildlife Rescue Coalition, and I kind of went on my merry little way, and I retired. Well, I quit my job in 19 because I was going to, enjoy my old age and travel and do fun things. And COVID came around and grounded everyone needs to go. One of us needs to leave this house because we can't both live here like that. So, I don't know. I was cleaning a cupboard or something. I was taking some donation to the Wildlife Rescue Coalition, and they're like, "We're looking for volunteers," and I'm like, "I can do that." And boom, there you are. Years later, I'm the treasurer. I'm the volunteer coordinator. I wear all sorts of crazy hats, and I found raccoons. They're my passion. And I probably have about 500, 600 raccoons come through my house every year, and just they're my thing. So, but here I am, and it's like everybody else said, you start this stuff, and it's like, you're just crazy. My husband and I used to look at the neighbors, going, "God, these people are crazy." And now it's like, yeah, but I wonder how many raccoons they have at their house. So here we are.
Very nice.
Here we are.
So a lot of folks, this wasn't something that you had initially planned on doing, and you kind of fell into it. I think that's a really common story for a lot of folks. What was the training process like? Like, how did you actually get the knowledge that you needed to answer these questions on the phone? Maybe Karen, you want to start us off?
So we've always had a really strong focus on education in our group, which I'm currently the education coordinator. So we have a great team of volunteers with a lot of experience in different species. So we've been grateful to have that. And we developed early on quite a comprehensive manual for our hotline volunteers, which draws on that experience of general wildlife knowledge, but also species specific knowledge. And we just keep updating that. So that's quite a comprehensive manual that we have now. And we just, I guess we're really fortunate that we've got some great species coordinators. So our hotline operators don't have to know everything. They just need to know who to call. And then they've got a team of people behind them that will help out and provide advice. So
Yeah, that's great. I think that having the manual is really useful. A lot of times having something written to refer to. Jana, how about you?
It was a bit wilder, I suppose, because again, before Kildare Wildlife Rescue, when I would be starting with like the previous two iterations of the organization beforehand, let's say, I don't think there was really much training, like official training to speak of. There was kind of like people learning from each other. Like you were advising people on the phone because you already had some experience, from actually doing rescues or doing rehab or anything like that, and kind of learning from each other and from the mistakes. Before I had anything to do with rescue and rehabilitation, I was doing a lot of educational work, like in terms of wildlife and conservation. So working with more conservation organizations. So I kind of did have the background in terms of communications and education and like IDing species and understanding wildlife from that side of it. So what I kind of had to learn on the job was the rehab part, which started from me actually like doing the rescue and rehab, not starting advising people. But in terms of like official training, when I was starting, there really was no such thing, or like comprehensive manuals to speak of. But then when we started Kildare Wildlife Rescue, that's when I could get my teacher hat on and actually develop the trainings and start doing it professionally and actually have, training plans and systems of training people up. So, and I'm loving it because that's what was missing before. And now we have it and we're quite proud of it.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Barb, are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay. Sorry, you
We have
dropped
a
on my screen.
thunderstorm. No, we have a
Yeah. Oh,
thunderstorm coming through here, so it'll be touch and go here. But
all right.
so training, somebody said, "Hey," I said, "Yes, I can." Shift, and I'm like, "Okay, great." And like I said, I mean, one of the biggest pet peeves was that we could actually, call up our messages and reach out to the group and say, "Hey, I got a message and it says, can you help me with that?" So that was training. I remember my first squirrel. Somebody gave me a squirrel and a syringe and some formula and said, "Take it home and feed it and love it." And I tried to take it back for wilding, and they're like, "Oh, the tail isn't fluffy enough." And I think that was my inspiration to become the volunteer coordinator and the foster coordinator and do the training and with the help of others write the manual, standardize so everybody wavelength and kind of doesn't do whatever they want to do, but does the same thing at all times. So that was the biggest thing. So it's like Jana said, uh, you know not having spurned me on to become a better teacher, a better mentor to those that are coming.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are all like the way you were trained is not how you're training people now. It sounds like you all have implemented some different training methods or materials or resources to help more current volunteers kind of transition into the role. And that's definitely was my experience. I kind of learned on the fly and was like, this is crazy. So what what do you think is of all of the training things that you've implemented, what's the one that really stands out to you as being the most useful and has made the biggest difference in training newer volunteers?